Alright, so welcome to this video. Today we have these 4 questions which I want us to solve, and they are under algebra. The first one is simplify 2 into bracket x plus 3y minus 3 into bracket 4x minus 2. So we'll go straight ahead and move the questions to one side of the board so I can start solving for us to see how it goes. Okay, so we have 2 into the bracket x plus 3y brackets close minus 3 brackets open 4x minus 2 brackets closed. Okay, so the first step we are going to take in this question will be expanding the bracket. So 2x plus 6y, and 2 times 3 is 6, with the variable y attached to the 3 makes it 6y minus, and I'll put this in a bracket to avoid the negative affecting it. So let me clear the 3 first. It's 3 times 4, which will give us 12. So 12 with the variable x, then another negative sign to compensate that of negative 2. So we have negative 6. And in the next line, I'll make 2x plus 6y, then negative 12x this time around, plus due to integers. When 2 negative signs mean that way, it changes because it is multiplying. Alright, so now we'll group like terms as we know, basic math, plus 6y plus 6 without any variable. So we move on to get more space. Okay, so now I'll move on with negative 10x, that's 6y plus 6. And to be on the safer side, I'll just arrange it for it to look more presentable. 6y minus 10x plus 6. And that's our final answer. So I'd like to take you through a bit so you see each step of how the question will be solved. Alright, so we have 2 multiplying the x to give us 2x, multiplying 3y to give us 6y, 3 multiplying 4 to give us 12x, multiplying 2 to give us negative 6. And I came to the next line. I made sure the negative affects the bracket, so it changed to positive 6. Now we group like terms, and we came to a conclusion that this question has a final answer of 10x, that's the negative 10x plus 6y plus 6. And when we rearrange it, that's when we got the 6y minus 10x plus 6. You can leave it as such. So we move on to the next question, which is the second on our list, which has to do with 3x squared minus 27. And they said we are to factorize that expression. So without much ado, let's get started. So with this, we can see we have 3x squared minus 3 times 9 is 27. I like to draw attention to that. So because of it, we put 9 there. And now we have 3 and brackets open. This is what they call difference of two squares. 3 times 3 will give us 9. So we have x squared minus 3 squared, which makes the difference of 2 squared. And with difference of 2 squared, I'll express it for you to see how it is expressed. That's x minus 3 and another bracket x plus 3 respectively. That is the meaning of difference of 2 squares. And that's our final answer for this particular question. Okay, so we had 3x squared minus 27. I factorized. I dealt with the difference of 2 squares. And now we can move on to our third question. So the third question says 2x squared plus x minus 3 is equal to 0. So with this one, we use factorization and a bit of quadratic to deal with it. So we have 2 times 3, which gives us 6. That's my way of doing it, and I'll explain it in another video for better understanding. So here you can see 3 minus 2 gives us 1, which is the same as x. In math, we all know we just write x to replace 1. So on the next line, I'm going to show you how you expand this question. This is commutativity. Since 2 times 3 and 3 times 2 gives us the same answer. Yeah, that's the commutative property. If you've seen it anywhere before, that's what it means. Anyhow it is interchanged, you are going to get the same answer. Okay, that was just by the way. So now let's move on. Our next step will be expanding this equation or expression so that we can arrive at our destination. So we have 3x minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, so let me factorize it as I'm saying for you to understand what I'm talking about. So here we can see from this expression, x is common to both of these equations. So we bring x out, we will be left with 2x plus 3 minus, for this one, 1 will be out. So now we have 2x plus 3 once again. And the reason for the plus is because of this negative will affect that plus to create the previous expression as we have there. So negative plus positive will give us negative as stated earlier in integers. So now we have x minus 1 and 2x plus 3. And from our basic knowledge, we equate both of these expressions to 0. The first one will be x equal to 1, and the latter one will be x equals negative 3 over 2. That's the same as negative 1.5 if you want to go the decimal way. Alright. So at least I like proving stuff when we are done. So let's prove this for us to ensure that we have the correct answers we should get. Now the expression is 2x squared plus x minus 3 as given to us in the question. Now they said x equal to 1 and x equal to negative 3 over 2. For x equal to 1, we just substitute. If you know about substitution, put in 1 in place of x. Now we are going to realize that we will arrive at 2 plus 1 being 3 minus 3, which gives us 0, which makes the expression correct when x is equal to 1. And on the other hand, when x is equal to negative 3 over 2, you can punch that into your calculator so that we don't waste much time. We are going to arrive at the expression being equal to 0 once again, which proves that these two answers are correct. Now, last but not the least on our list is 5 whole number raised to the power negative 3x equal to 125. And with some knowledge on indices, you realize that 125 can be expressed in a certain way. So on indices, we have 5 raised to the power negative 3x. We are going to repeat that. And 5 raised to an exponent of 3. That's how 125 can be expressed. That is 5 multiplying itself 3 times. 5 times 5 gives us 25. And another 5 sums to 125. Okay, so that's the product. Alright, so from indices again, when the bases are the same, we equate the exponent as I'm doing. So now, when we divide through by the common factor, which is negative 3x, is equal to negative 1. And hang on, I'll prove this also. So let's scroll a bit. Okay, so 5 raised to an exponent of negative 3x is equal to what? We replace x with negative 1, and from what we've learned in basic math, negative 3 times negative 1 should be positive 3, and which sums up to 125 as given in the question. So we've dealt with all the questions respectfully.